or cream of coconut. This is Coco Real. This stuff is awesome. Now, the problem with putting this into the jigger, it'll never get out of there. So we're just gonna eyeball about an ounce of that stuff right there. So an ounce of orange juice, ounce of coconut. We're gonna do 2 ounces of pineapple juice.
But it's definitely tiki-ish then.
Oh, it's very tiki. You would have a hard time convincing me that even though this was not created by Dawn or Vic, that this is not a tiki drink. This is for sure.
Absolutely.
I love this guy. So we have this in here, but we are going full tiki here, Tammy. So we are going to bring in your friend, Mr. Blender.
Oh God, I hate the blender.
Bring in Mr. Blender real quick, and we are going to blend this up. Oh, all of our coconut right there on the bottom. There we go. Get all that in there. We are going to blend. Now, blend light. We just want to break up some of this ice.
Well, I'm doing like a little one.
What is that?
I'm doing like a little. That's
your blender dance is like an orphan asking for seconds.
What?
You were like this.
I was doing this. This is what. Okay, everyone, shut up. Everyone's fired. Everyone's fired in the house.
So sad. I had to stop the blender. It's not fully blended yet. All right. I didn't want you to jump or something. It was, man, oh man. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pour this painkiller. Tammy needs it, clearly. Tammy needs to kill some of whatever's going on in her.
Because it wasn't a proper shake. No, that's why. I wasn't gonna give it my all. I gave it my half.
I love it.
It was just a. It was a half.
I thought it was great, Tammy. I thought it was great. We don't have any bitterness in here. We don't have any lime. We don't have, it's all fruit. So what we want to do is we want to put a little bit of nutmeg, fresh grated, right here on top for my girl Daphne. This was a big part of her cocktail. There we go. So most of the bitter is going to come from this nutmeg. This right here.
Thank you.
Is the Daphne Henderson Soggy Dollar Bar Painkiller.
All right, Daphne.
Yeah.
Here goes, girl.
Yeah, there we go.
Cheers. Oh gosh, it smells great.
Oh God, yeah. This is such a good cocktail.
Oh, here's something fun for you.
Yeah. There it is. There's that dance. Happy dance.
It's really good.
It's really good.
Really
yeah,
good.
Daphne did well.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in this week. We will be back in 1 week's time from Awesome City here for Mix Cocktail Hour. I'm Tammy Harrison. This is Scott Cushman.
Happy birthday, Mom.
Cheerio, everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week.
There it is. There's that full dance.
Yeah, I guess it's a nutmeg for me. I'm just not a... What is that? A
River
line
dance.
dance?
River
oh,
dance.
The river dance.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Wood oven pizza, the way it was meant to be cooked on a hot stone with a wood fire. Sweet and sour duck, wood oven roasted in the style of Italy's Piedmont. Grilled pork chops, big bone chops with oversized flavor. From the picturesque Esplendor Resort in southern Arizona, I'm Stephen Reichland. Today we're firing it up Italian style.
So what is it, 400 pounds? No, that was like that.
It's a vision as old as civilization itself, a clay or brick oven fueled by a flickering wood fire. Today, the ancient art of Italian live fire cooking. Wood oven pizza, sweet and sour duck, and wood-grilled pork chops. From the piazzas of Rome to the hills of Tuscany, it's Italian fire on Primal Grill. You've seen me cook pizza on the grill. Now I'd like to show you the most traditional way of all to cook pizza, in a wood-burning oven. And it starts by proofing the yeast. To 1 tablespoon of dry yeast, add 1 tablespoon of sugar and 1 tablespoon of warm water. Mix these ingredients together to make a sort of paste. Yeast is a microscopic organism. It eats the sugar and exudes carbon dioxide. It's those tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide that make the pizza dough rise. Next, place the flour in the bowl of a mixer. Add a little whole wheat flour, salt, extra virgin olive oil, and most, but not all, of your water. Finally, add the proof yeast. It's started to foam up and bubble. That shows you that the yeast is active. So we'll add this mixture. So raise the bowl and switch on the mixer. And let the dough hook do your kneading. Now you can also make the dough in a food processor, and certainly you can make it by hand. It looks a little dry, so I can add just a little more water. What you want to do is make a soft, pliable, but not sticky dough. Once the dough comes away from the sides of the bowl in a smooth ball, stop the mixer, lower the bowl, take out the hook. And even when you make dough in a machine, I always like to knead it a little bit by hand to give it a human touch. Place it in an oiled bowl. Cover all sides with oil. Cover the bowl with plastic wrap. Let the bowl rise in a warm but not hot place until doubled in bulk, about 1 to 1.5 hours. And here's a batch of dough I made earlier. Take the dough, form it into kind of a log shape. Now, cut the log shape in half again, to give you 4 even pieces of dough. Grab a floured baking sheet, then take each lump of dough and roll it into a smooth ball. And cover the dough balls with plastic wrap, then with a clean dish towel. Let the dough rise again about 30 minutes. This is a home-style wood-burning oven. It's lined with refractory stone, which both absorbs and reflects the heat. It takes about 2 hours to preheat. You light a hardwood fire. The preferred fuel in Italy is oak logs. Push them in back with tongs. When you're ready to grill the pizza, what you want to do is push the embers to the back of the oven and give a brush to the bottom. Now let me show you how to put the pizzas together. Start with a little extra virgin olive oil, then tomatoes sliced about 1/4 inch thick. Then sprinkle tomatoes with chopped garlic, coarse sea salt, and finely ground black pepper. Next, for our bacon, onion, and potato pizza, again, a little extra virgin olive oil in the pan, then thinly slivered bacon or pancetta, diced onions, and diced potato. Stir to mix well. Again, a little coarse sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. Now, place the frying pans in your wood-burning oven and roast until the vegetables are browned and sizzling. Cooking time will be about 5 to 8 minutes. Brush off any excess flour, then sprinkle your peel with cornmeal. This will help the pizza slide off. To assemble the pizza, first arrange the roasted tomatoes. Next, fontina cheese. Then torn leaves of fresh basil. A little bit more chopped garlic, coarse salt, and black pepper. Drizzle the top of the pizza with extra virgin olive oil and slide it into your wood-burning oven. So while the margarita pizza is cooking, let me show you how to make the bacon onion potato pizza. Take another ball of dough. Don't be too obsessed about making it perfectly circular. I like a free-form pizza. It's more rustic. And you just want to turn your pizza as needed. You want to keep the food moving. Spoon the bacon, onion, potato mixture on top of the crust. Then sprinkle the pizza with grated Romano cheese. And finally, a little chopped fresh parsley. And check this one out, our bacon, onion, potato pizza. So let's see how we did. Pizza margherita, bacon pizza, moment I've sure been waiting for. Wow, bacon, onion, potato, cheese, it's just amazing. And the margherita, roasting the tomatoes really gives them a rich, concentrated flavor. So there you have it. 2 pizzas hot from the wood-burning oven. It's Italian fire on Primal Grill.
Oh, yeah. Looks great.
There we go. Cesare Giacone is a chef's chef, drawing an A-list of foodies from all over Planet Barbecue to his rustic restaurant in Italy's Piedmont. They come for baby lamb spit roasted in a wood-burning rotisserie in the dining room. They come for a sweet sour duck, equally remarkable for its succulent flesh as for its soulful flavor. Here's how we make it. Start with a 5 to 6 pound duck. And using poultry shears, remove the backbone. Next, open the duck up and using a very large knife, cut it in half through the breastbone. Now, trim off any excess skin. Cut the tip off the wing. A duck is about 40% fat, so you want to cut off as much as you can before you start cooking. Next, using a sharp knife, score the skin on the breast meat, first in one direction, then the other. This will help release the fat as the duck cooks. Return the duck to the baking dish. Next, season the duck. First with coarse sea salt, freshly ground black pepper. Then finely chopped garlic, and finely chopped rosemary. Last of all, a couple of shallots. And sprinkle the sliced shallots over the duck. Wash your hands in hot, soapy water. Finally, drizzle the duck with extra virgin olive oil. The fruitier you can find, the better. Marinate the duck for 1 to 2 hours. Meanwhile, let me show you the beehive oven. You can see how it got its name. It's one of the world's most ancient live fire cooking devices. And the way you fire up the beehive oven is using hardwood chunks or small logs. You want to leave yourself plenty of time to preheat the oven. Shove the coals to the back of the oven. You're looking for a 400-degree temperature. That would be a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. Ouch, fire. Let me get the duck. Place it skin side down in a cast iron skillet. Why skin side down? You want to crisp the skin, then we'll turn it over halfway. And you can just spoon any of the shallots or olive oil on top. Then add a half a dozen whole shallots and a few whole sprigs of fresh rosemary. Place the duck in the beehive oven. Cooking time is going to be about 1 to 1.5 hours, and after 20 minutes, turn the ducks over. The idea is you want to brown the skin on the bottom first to make it nice and crisp, render out some of that duck fat, then turn it over to finish cooking. Also, remember, you have to rotate the duck periodically. The oven's a little hotter at the back than the front. You want the duck to cook evenly. Now, what about if you don't have a beehive oven? Well, you can also make Cesare sweet and sour duck on a gas grill. Set up your gas grill for indirect grilling. I actually preheated all the burners to screaming hot, and then I turn off the central burners. Classic indirect setup. Now, place the skillet on the grill in the center over the unlit burners. And to generate some of that wood oven smoked flavor, place hardwood chunks in your grill's smoker box. And close the lid. If you don't have a smoker box, just put the wood chunks in a small cast iron skillet or even wrap them in aluminum foil. Poke a few holes on top. That's called a smoker pouch. Now close the grill lid. Indirect grill the duck. Cooking time's the same, 1 to 1.5 hours.
I'm coming on the other side. Okay, here we go. Come to me. Hold on one second.
Once the duck halves are lightly browned, turn them over. Continue roasting until the duck is completely cooked, another 45 minutes to 1 hour. The duck looks done, and it sure looks good. But to make certain, use an instant read meat thermometer. I like my duck medium well, about 175 degrees. To make the sauce, pour out the excess duck fat. Then deglaze the pan with red wine vinegar. Next, add honey. There's your sweet and sour. And duck stock or chicken stock. Whisk to dissolve the ingredients. Then you want to put the sauce back in the wood-burning oven for a couple of minutes to thicken it up. And once your sauce is thick and syrupy, simply whisk in butter to make it rich and glossy. And finally, salt and freshly ground black pepper to taste. Yeah. Okay, and the last thing you want to do is just strain your sauce. That gets out any little burnt bits of rosemary or garlic. Then ladle your strained sweet and sour sauce over the duck. And there's the sweet and sour wood oven roasted duck. Can't wait to cut into this one. Look at that. You even get a touch of pink from the smoke. Now this is what duck is supposed to taste like. It's sweet, salty, with nice rosemary flavor. I think Cesare would be proud. Once you spend some time in Florence, you will find people of great warmth and food of tremendous character. Florence is also Italy's barbecue central. Florentines are absolutely obsessed with grilled meat. You've probably heard of bistecca alla Fiorentina, Tuscan porterhouse steak, grilled with salt and precious little else. Well, here's a dish Tuscans keep to themselves. Grilled pork chops with onion sauce. The primal grill twist, you grill the pork and the onions over wood. First, the onions. These are called cipollini. They are traditional Italian onions, very sweet, very richly flavored, and flat, which maximizes the surface area exposed to the fire. The first thing you want to do is peel the cipollinis, cut off the bottom, and remove the papery skin, but leave the root intact. The root will help hold the onion together during the grilling. When you have to grill a lot of small items, the easiest way is to thread them onto a skewer. And I use a flat skewer so the onions won't spin around. This recipe was inspired by Buca Lupe, one of the most famous chop houses in Florence. So once you have your onion kebabs, brush them on both sides with extra virgin olive oil and season with coarse salt and freshly ground black pepper. This is a front-loading wood-burning grill. It burns wood chunks and logs. I'm using oak in the best Tuscan tradition. First, we'll put on the onions. They take longer to cook than the pork. Arrange the onions on the grate, root side up to start. Let me show you how to make the sauce. The sauce begins with dry red wine, balsamic vinegar, and honey. So it's a sort of sweet and sour sauce. Whisk the mixture until the honey is dissolved and place the pan on the grill. Boil until thick and syrupy, about 8 to 12 minutes. Meanwhile, don't forget to check on the onions. You want to grill them until soft and golden brown. And if you see the heat is not quite hot enough in one spot, you can just shift the logs over. This is an extremely interactive method of grilling. I love it. Check out these mammoth, long-bone, Tuscan-sized pork chops. Each one weighs over a pound. Start by brushing the tops of the pork chop with extra virgin olive oil and season with coarse sea salt and freshly ground black pepper. Now arrange the pork chops on the grill. These guys are big. Cooking time will be about 8 minutes per side. And while you're at it, turn the grilled cipollini onions. Unskewer the onions. They are nice and tender, but not so soft that they fall apart. Beautiful. Now finish the sauce. Simply add the cipollini onions to the honey wine vinegar reduction and stir in about 4 tablespoons of butter and return the pan to the heat just to melt the butter. So give the chops their final turn. And for extra flavor, you can baste with the drippings that are channeled into the drip pan. When they feel firm to the touch, they're done. Man, did these look good. Spoon the cipollini onion sauce over the pork chops. And to finish, just a sprinkle of finely chopped flat leaf parsley. Check it out. Look how moist that pork is. Oh man, those smoky wood-grilled pork chops, the sweet onions, this is amazing. I hope you've enjoyed our show on Italian grilling. Wood-grilled pizza, sweet and sour duck, wood-grilled pork chops. Viva Italia! We have 4 bowls that we're gonna pick up, 5 bowls. So, I'm not gonna tell you what order I'm gonna do it. We're gonna see how intuitive you are. Yes, we are. Brick oven pizza, what? Then sprinkle the pizza with grated, then sprinkle Martha's Vineyard lobster, grilled over wood like we do it at home. Texas Claude, move over brisket. It's the beef Texans keep for themselves. Puerto Rican pork shoulder, studded with garlic and glazed with annatto oil. From the beautiful Esplendor Resort in Rio Rico, Arizona, I'm Stephen Reichland. Today on Primal Grill, it's Burn in the USA. Allow me a bit of chauvinism. People grill all over Planet Barbecue, but nobody does it better than we do here in America. That's because we have 2 distinct grilling traditions: the high heat method known as direct grilling and the low, slow, smoky, indirect method known as true barbecue. So with a tip of the hat to the boss, today we're going to burn in the USA. So let's get the sauce ingredients. Yeah, we need a basting brush.
So, Stephen, let's do this.
When I'm not traveling Planet Barbecue, I spend a lot of time in Martha's Vineyard. Of course, we grill, and the first thing we grill is seafood, even lobster. Especially lobster. The high, dry heat of the grill gives you a complex flavor you just can't get from boiling. Now, in the vineyard, we use live lobster. Some people may find the act of cutting a live lobster open disconcerting, so what you can do is parboil the lobster for 3 minutes. That's what we have here. What you want to do first is cut off the claws. They cook longer than the lobster body, so we'll cook them separately. Next, using a large knife, you want to cut through the belly of the lobster. You cut to, but not through, the top shell, and you want to just butterfly the lobster open like this. And if you find the vein, you can just pull it out and discard it. So here's our lobster. This is a great trick for keeping grilled lobster moist. You want to collect the juices in a bowl, and I'll show you how to use them in a minute. Now, next step, a little melted butter. Brush the inside of the lobster. This green stuff is called the tamale. It's the lobster's liver, and New Englanders consider it a delicacy. Next, season the lobster with this beautiful coarse sea salt and cracked or freshly ground black pepper. We're going to grill the lobsters on a wood-burning grill. And what you do here, just raise the grate with this flywheel, and we're using pecan wood. Lay it on the coals. The beauty of grilling with wood is that wood gives you not only heat, but a smoke flavor. First, place the large lobster claws. Then the smaller claws. Then the lobster bodies, and these go cut side down. The idea here is you sear the meat for a couple of minutes, and then turn the lobsters over so they finish cooking in the shells. Then, using the flywheel, lower the grate to expose the lobsters directly to the heat. Now, while the lobsters grill on one side, let me show you the sauce. It's very simple: melted butter, a couple of cloves of crushed garlic. We have finely chopped flat leaf parsley, chopped fresh tarragon, and chopped fresh chives. And we'll simply place the pot directly on the grill, cook these ingredients together, so make a great simple sauce for the lobsters. Once the lobster claws are cooked on one side, just turn them over in the order in which you put them on the grate. Cooking time on the claws is about 4 minutes per side. Remember, every grill will have hot spots and cool spots, so if you want to get that butter sauce a little hotter, you can just move the pan to the back of the grill. And to make sure the lobster cooks evenly, you can just sort of move the logs around so you have an even heat under each lobster. Now, what I'm looking for here is that the cut part of the lobster will be browned. Don't forget to stir your sauce. Don't want it to brown. I just want the herbs to be fragrant and aromatic. Okay, and once this mixture is sizzling and the garlic has lost its rawness, just transfer your sauce to a trivet. When it comes to cooking lobster, most people think of boiling or steaming, and these are great ways to cook a lobster. But I love grilling, because I love especially grilling over wood, I love the kind of smoke flavors and dry heat searing that you get when you grill a lobster. For me, grilling actually brings out the intrinsic sweetness of a lobster. And at this point, do you want to swap out some lobsters? What I'm going to do now, remember these lobster juices we saved? They go back on top the cooked part of the lobsters.
Come to me a little bit on this, and go.
Okay, so just turn the lobsters over. You can see the meat inside the tail is nicely browned. Then what you want to do with these reserved lobster juices is you can just pour a little over the lobster meat, and they'll cook thanks to the hot meat. Then you want to continue cooking the lobsters until the meat is all the way cooked through. I check the doneness by poking. It will feel firm to the touch. You can baste the lobsters with a little bit of your herb butter. So how do you know when the lobster is ready? Well, the claws will be nicely browned, and the tail meat will feel firm to the touch. So let's see how we did. take a claw and a lobster body. Put a little sauce on it. Oh man, the lobster is so sweet and you get that nice smoke flavor. Wood-grilled lobster is how we do it at my house. Okay, Nancy and Michelle, let's clear the set. Everybody knows about pork shoulders. Well, beef shoulders, you know, probably 4 times as big. It's got all this incredibly flavorful meat, but the muscles all run in different directions. So you have to cook a shoulder clod low and slow in the presence of a lot of wood smoke. I will need a full chimney, hot, ready to go. Okay, let's do it. Yep. Brisket is the beef Texans' export. Shoulder clod, beef shoulder, is the barbecue they keep for themselves. You might think of our next dish as a North Carolina pork shoulder on steroids. Step number 1, the rub. It starts with coarse sea salt. To it, add cracked or freshly ground black pepper and cayenne pepper. And mix the ingredients. I like to use my fingers to break up any clumps. Blend the ingredients until mixed. A beef clod is a whole beef shoulder. It's 25 pounds of pure proteinaceous pleasure. What you want to do is sprinkle about half the rub on the meat side, and then you kind of massage it into the meat. That's why it's called a rub. Be sure and get the sides too. Then you want to turn the clod over. You see, I've left a good thick sheath of fat on top. That's very important because the clod will cook for about 12 hours, and as it cooks, the fat will melt, basting the meat. Besides, fat is where the flavor is. Now, clod is not the sort of cut of meat you'll find at your local supermarket. Make friends with your butcher and order it specially from him. Okay, you can cook the clod right away, or you can let it marinate overnight in the refrigerator. You get even more flavor if you do. There are a couple of options for cooking the clod. The traditional device in Texas would be an offset barrel smoker. It's made out of oil pipe, and it's called an offset smoker because it has a firebox that is slightly offset from the main smoke chamber. Build a good bed of charcoal. Your heat will come from charcoal. The smoke will come from either soaked wood chunks, soak them so they smolder rather than catch fire, and give you a nice hickory or pecan smoke. You can actually take small logs and throw logs right in the smoke chamber. Now, the business end of the smoker is the actual cook chamber. It's this upper portion here. You can see there are thermometers on either side to tell you the temperature, a damper at the top to help you control the heat, counterweight to help you lift this door. What you want to do is take your clod and place it fat side up in the smoke chamber. This is a clod that's been cooking for about 6 hours. And then at this point, if your clod starts to darken too much, you wrap it in foil. This will keep it from burning. I'll just close the grill lid. Now here's the second option for cooking your clod. You can use a kettle grill. It's a classic indirect grill setup, coals and mounds on the side, wood chips on the top. So this clod has been on for about 12 hours, and you can see it's so tender, the meat is actually falling apart. But always a good idea to use your instant read meat thermometer to check it. We're looking for about 190 degrees. Where are we? 186, close enough. First place I ever tasted clod was a barbecue restaurant called the Kreitz Market in Lockhart, Texas. It started out as a butcher shop and grocery store, so the accompaniments were the items you would find at a grocery store. Now let's see how we did here on this clod. We'll start to slice it, and you'll forgive me, oh my God. This is so crusty and so smoky. It is just amazing. What's the one thing missing from this scene? Well, there's no barbecue sauce. When meat is this good and smoky, you don't need the sauce. I'll take a slice of white bread, a little cheese, and some jalapenos, and pickles, onion, and a slice of clod. It's just all about the beef and the smoke. When you can have Texas shoulder clod, who needs brisket?
Fence in the back.
If America is a nation of barbecue fanatics, we owe it to the Caribbean. After all, it was there that the Taino Indians developed barbacoa. Our last dish pays homage to the Caribbean-American connection. Puerto Ricans call it lechon asado. I call it paradise on a plate. And it starts with a skin-on 7-pound pork shoulder. Now, the cut of shoulder you want, if you can find it, will be the foreshank. This is sometimes called a picnic ham. It has part of the foreleg, and you want, ideally, a pork shoulder with the skin on. Here's what you do. First, cut through the skin on the bottom, and then you want to just peel it away from the meat. Because what we're going to do is actually we're going to flavor the pork under the skin and then spit roast it with the skin on. As you travel around the Puerto Rican countryside, you'll find lechon asado at roadside barbecue joints. Once the skin is pulled back, using your knife, you want to make a series of holes in the pork. Then in half the holes, you want to insert slivers of garlic. And in the other half the holes, you want to insert sprigs of fresh oregano. Next, the rub. The rub is a variation on what Puerto Ricans call sazon. It starts with salt, dried oregano, garlic powder, black pepper, and dried sage. Mix the ingredients for the rub with your fingers and use it to season the pork on all sides. Now, pull the skin back over the pork, and the way you secure it in place is either to pin it with bamboo skewers or tie it with butcher string. So what I'm going to do here is make a series of slits in the pork skin. And I've rigged up a sort of trussing needle with a flat bamboo skewer with a hole in the bottom. And this will help me thread the butcher string through the pork rind. You want to tie it off. And then bring the string around the pork roast and secure the skin from the other side. And you can come around back to this side and pin the skin. Then bring it around the bottom through the next hole and come back through. And what you've done is reattach the pork skin to the pork shoulder. By the way, that is by far the hardest part of making this recipe. Now, take the spit from your rotisserie and insert it lengthwise through the pork shoulder. You want to get it centered on the spit. Simply push in the first set of prongs to attach the meat. Then the second set of prongs, and secure the pork shoulder to the spit. Now let me show you the grill. This is a wood-burning rotisserie. I've set it up as though you were indirect grilling. A couple of logs on one side, couple of logs on the other side. Here in southern Arizona, we're actually burning pecan wood. Add a fresh log. Take the rotisserie spit and insert one end in the socket and the other end right here, and switch on the motor. What's going to happen, the pork roast is going to gently spit roast. The lateral heat will crisp the skin, cook the meat. Juices will drip in the center. Cooking time, 2.5 to 3 hours. Meanwhile, let me show you how to make the annatto oil for basting. Get our first swap out. Ready? Coming over your head. Let's clean up, get rid of everything under here. One of the secrets to a great lechon asado is to baste the meat with annatto oil. Annatto, sometimes called achiote, is a rust-colored seed with an earthy flavor native to the Caribbean. So, add oil to a saucepan, and then add the annatto seed, and cook the mixture over a high heat until the seeds sizzle and crackle, and the oil is a bright orange. Annatto was an indigenous Caribbean seasoning. It was used for cooking, but also as a sort of early sunscreen. Once the annatto oil is rust-colored, pass it through a fine mesh strainer into a bowl. And use this orange fragrant oil for basting your lechon. You can see this is after about an hour of cooking. The annatto oil helps the skin crisp, gives you an incredible color, and also a distinctive Caribbean flavor. While the roast finishes, let me show you how to make the barbecue sauce. Throughout the Spanish-speaking world, even as far east as the Philippines, people love barbecue sauces made with soft drinks. So, it starts with ketchup and your favorite barbecue sauce, and lemon lime soda. Finally, black pepper and a little liquid smoke. Combine the ingredients in a pot, whisk to mix, and simmer until the sauce is thick and richly flavored, about 10 minutes. Check out our lechon asado. It looks beautiful, and the annatto aroma is incredible. It looks done, but of course, you always want to check it with an instant read meat thermometer. I'm looking for between 180 and 190 degrees. In the Caribbean, people like their pork well done. So all you need to do is take the spit off the rotisserie and transfer the pork roast to a cutting board. Pull out the first prong, loosen the second prong, and pull the spit out of the pork shoulder. Take out the other set of prongs, and then you want to remove the strings. And you pull the pork rind off, and just let it cool for a minute, and you'll see it'll become crackling crisp. Let me get the barbecue sauce. So here is our lemon lime soda barbecue sauce. And let me carve the pork. The knife glides through the meat like butter. And you want to cut this pork rind into bite-sized pieces, which in Puerto Rico are known as chicharrones. So let's see how we did. a slice of pork, a slice of the rind, a spoonful of our barbecue sauce, This meat is so moist and tender. This is what the gods must eat in barbecue heaven. So from Puerto Rico to Primal Grill, it's lechon asado. So that brings today's show to a close. Martha's Vineyard grilled lobster, Texas cod, and lechon asado with lemon lime barbecue sauce. It's burned in the USA. AJ, it is absolutely brilliant. Dig in and try it. Now let me show you if America is a nation of barbecue fanatics, we owe it to the... So what's the deal with the lemon lime soda? Well, first of all, people make Allow me a bit of chauvinism, especially lobster. Got my next line. Puerto Ricans call it... Indian puff pastry, naan with a twist, literally. Tandoori salmon, America's favorite fish roasted in India's traditional grill. Chicken tikka, shish kebab, Indian style, slathered with spice and hot from the tandoor. From the scenic Esplendor Resort in Rio Rico, Arizona, I'm Stephen Reichland. Today on Primal Grill, it's Bombay Blast and the grilling of India. If you've ever dined at an Indian restaurant, you've probably tasted tandoori chicken. Well, the ancient techniques of complex marinating and high heat vertical roasting also work great for seafood. Up next, America's favorite fish meets traditional Indian barbecue. I give you tandoori salmon. Tandoori secret number 1, the aromatic wash. Start with finely chopped garlic and chopped fresh ginger, and puree them together in a food processor. Next, add cold water, process to mix, and pour the aromatic wash over these gorgeous wild salmon steaks. This aromatic wash actually serves 2 purposes. First, it adds a base layer of flavor, and second, in the age before widespread refrigeration, it was a way to freshen up the fish. Tandoori secret number 2, the spice paste. This one begins with chopped fresh onion, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, salt, freshly ground black pepper, turmeric, ground cumin, and a spice you may not be familiar with. It's called ajwain. It has a kind of bitter, licoricey flavor. Caraway seed makes a great substitute. Now, grind these ingredients to a coarse paste, running your processor in short bursts. In India, they have these giant lava stone spice grinders that are powered by electric motors. Next, you want to add a whole egg, then add strained yogurt or thick Greek-style yogurt. One final ingredient, chickpea flour, known in India as besan. Chickpea flour is made from ground chickpeas or garbanzo beans. It has a earthy flavor, and it helps thicken up the marinade so that it will cook into a savory crust. Spread about 1/3 of the spice paste on the bottom of a non-reactive baking dish. Then fish your salmon steaks out of the aromatic wash and arrange them on top of the spice paste. Marinate the salmon in the refrigerator for 4 to 6 hours. Meanwhile, let me show you the tandoor. It's the newest addition to the Primal Grill collection, and I am absolutely thrilled to have it. Inside the stainless steel casing is a tall ceramic urn. The walls are about 2 inches thick. There's a vent at the bottom. And due to the unique shape of the tandoor, the way the walls come up and then sort of close in a narrowish opening at the top, this baby will generate and hold a tremendous amount of heat. We're actually cooking at 700 to 800 degrees. This is a sort of a half Mississippi fire inside. One of the things that makes tandoori so unique is that you grill vertically, not horizontally. And you cook the fish on this long, slender metal spit. So what you want to do is take a piece of fish and pierce it on the diagonal. And to keep the salmon steaks from sliding off the skewer, place an onion at the end. Let me wash my hands. Take the skewer with the tandoori salmon and insert the entire skewer in the tandoor. The bottom of the skewer rests on the bottom. Cooking time is really fast, somewhere between 5 and 8 minutes. The tandoor is an unbelievably efficient live fire cooking device. It cooks not only with the direct heat from the charcoal, but with the radiant heat from the thick ceramic walls. So how do you know when the fish is done? If you look closely, you can actually see the juices bubble. To take the skewer out, use the hook on another tandoor skewer and lift it out. And Indian restaurants will always have a rack for hanging the tandoor. And traditionally, the tandoori meats are hung, rested for a few minutes, and then put on the platter and served. Be very careful not to touch the tops of these hooks. They are excruciatingly hot. Take it from me. So how do you make tandoori salmon if you don't have a tandoor? I give you another Primal Grill first, tandoori salmon on a gas grill. Skewer the salmon on these wide, flat metal skewers. In North America, most of our grilling is done on grills with grill grates, but if you cook tandoori salmon this way, the chickpea flour coating would stick to the grill grate. Now, in India, direct grills would not actually have grill grates. They'd be metal box with the coals at the bottom, and you would stretch the kebabs across the sides of the grill. What I've done here is arrange 2 metal bars across the grill grate. So when I take the salmon and I put it on the grill, the fish is actually suspended above the grate. That way the chickpea flour spice paste cooks without sticking to the grill grate. Close the grill. Cooking time here, about 6 to 8 minutes per side. And once the salmon steaks are browned on the bottom, simply turn them over. And you can see the beauty of using these flat skewers is that it holds the salmon steaks stable. So we've got another 4 to 6 minutes of cooking. Meanwhile, let's plate up our tandoori salmon. And one final touch. Indian space tandoori with melted butter just before serving. It's a tandoori extravaganza on Primal Grill. Let's see how we did. First of all, it's really gorgeous. And if you look, you see that chickpea flour marinade cooked to a hard crust. And the fish is incredibly moist. There's a peppery bite from the ginger, kind of tang of the yogurt. It's like an Indian spice market in your mouth. What I especially love about non-Indian flatbread is its spontaneity and its theatrics. A typical Indian bakery is an open-air stall with a guy kneeling on a concrete or stone platform. You order naan, he takes a ball of dough, rolls it out, slaps it on the walls, and pulls it out a couple of minutes or even seconds later. It's not bread that's meant to be stored on a bakery shelf or brought home. You eat it hot out of the tandoor. Naan was the first food cooked in a tandoor, and to this day, this charcoal flatbread turns up at Indian restaurants everywhere. The flavorings are limited only by your imagination.